What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where every single week I, Graham Cheese and Matthews, break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network as well as on the USA Network, because today we're talking the Season 2 premiere of Miz and Mrs. as seen this past Wednesday night after NXT on USA. It used to air after SmackDown on Tuesdays, but now that SmackDown is on Fridays on Fox, they moved the show to after NXT on USA on Wednesdays. I don't have a chance to watch it on Wednesdays. If I'm not watching NXT first and then Dynamite, it's Dynamite then NXT. So my Wednesdays are pretty stacked. I don't watch the show now until early Thursdays, which is kind of what I did initially, in the show, during the first season last year. But I strongly recommend checking out this show. As I've said before, the first few episodes of Season 1 weren't entirely exciting. It felt staged. It felt phony. It kind of felt a little corny. But once the show found its rhythm by the second half of Season 1, it really became entertaining, no pun intended, must-see TV. This show is, pun intended, absolutely awesome, so definitely check it out. Season 2, Episode 1 was called Monroe's First WrestleMania. Now, I've been waiting for this episode to air since WrestleMania weekend because I was a part of it. Now, you don't see me on screen, but I was at WrestleMania 35. Did I say WrestleMania 36? WrestleMania 35 weekend in New York, and I was at Access, and I didn't go to the Miz's Access signing. That was a VIP signing, though I really do want to meet him. I was nearby, though, so Alexis and I think this was Friday, if I'm not mistaken. We were there earlier for the Ryder Kurt Hawkins signing before our session. We went to our session, and we met a whole bunch of people. We got to meet Sting, EC3, Rhino, Heath Slater, Tony Nese, Jenny, Tori Wilson, a bunch of people. So we were tired. Instead of walking around again to meet more people, we just took a seat. We were like, we got to rest. My feet are killing me. So we took a seat and ate our food next to where The Miz was doing his signing. And I just so happened to see Monroe. Now, Monroe she was in this episode. She wasn't focused on. We didn't really hear from her as much as we would normally hear on the show. But I walked up to her and I saw all the cameras filming for Miz and Mrs. And I'm like, holy shit. I wasn't on the show, unfortunately. I didn't make the cut. But I did talk to Monroe very briefly, said I love Miz and Mrs. I love you on the show. Very entertaining stuff. I actually got to meet Mr. Miz at that Access as well. All the pictures are up on my, Twitter and all that other shit, Facebook and stuff like that. So it was pretty crazy. It was awesome. No pun intended. But again, I didn't make the show, unfortunately. It would have been cool if I did, but that's why I was waiting for this episode to air, and we finally got it for Episode 1 of Season 2. So, quick recap to kick off this episode. They have a second baby on the way. They have Monroe Sky, who was born over WrestleMania 34 weekend, if not a little before. I forget what the exact timeline was there. But Monroe was born back in 2018. Monroe is now a full-blown toddler by that point. She's now celebrating 1 year old, which is cool. And they're also in the process of moving back to Los Angeles after moving to Texas back in Season 1. They missed LA. They're in the process of moving back to LA. So WrestleMania week is also coming up, and that also marks the 1 year birthday, the first birthday of Monroe Sky. And Maurice wants to throw a first birthday bash for Monroe in New York City, even though she will never remember it, that being Monroe Sky, because she's 1 year old. So Maurice wants to go all out for this birthday, even though the baby won't even care, but she'll care, so she really wants to go all out with it. Meanwhile, they have a bit of a side story on this episode where Maurice starts asking Miz while they're in their hotel room together all these sex-related questions. Why? I guess they want to determine Miz's spiciness level in bed. It ends up being 47% because he says no to all this other stuff about having sex in public, in a room where other people have slept, or in a bed that other people have slept in, stuff like that. And he ends up getting 47%. I guess Miz has this nickname coined by Zack Ryder of Missionary Mike because he's not adventurous enough. He even asks Maurice, am I adventurous enough in bed for you? And she gives him a non-answer. So he's determined to improve upon that. So they go to the Cotton Candy Spa, where I guess you can get, what is it called? Manicures and pedicures, whatever, for yourself and your kid, even though she's 1 year old. Why would she need that? I have no idea. So they go to check it out. The grand total of everything that would be a part of this package is $10,000. People actually pay that amount of money to go to this type of shit. Maybe not with their 1 year old, but still $10,000 for a manicure and all this other spa-related stuff is ridiculous. So, thankfully, Maurice does not convince Miz to do it. Instead, he challenges her to do the entire birthday party in under $500. And yeah, that's a lot of money, but for them, that's nothing. So, because Miz even brings up, hey, when I was a kid, my dad would throw maybe some decorations, balloons on the wall, get a cake for maybe $30. But Maurice wants to go all out. He challenges her to do it in under 500. She's determined to stay under that limit. They come close to sealing the deal, so to speak, in the back of a car, and I guess they're in the city. They tell their driver to go get a coffee for them. He's gone for 10 minutes. They go in the back of the car to have sex, and he doesn't get to seal the deal, according to The Miz, because the guy comes back, and it's just a really awkward moment. They're in the trunk, and he opens up the trunk, and Maurice comes out, and the guy wants to help. It's a whole weird thing. It's a very weird thing. So they don't get to do it there. But they do WrestleMania Access. Unfortunately, again, I did not make the air here, but you see Miz meeting a bunch of fans, Mr. Miz, that is, Miz as well, with Maurice at their Access signing. That's a dream of mine to go meet the Miz. He's one of my favorite wrestlers I've yet to meet. Him and William Regal, I think, are my top two, because I've already met Christian, CM Punk, Jericho, Zack Ryder, have all been crossed off the list. I think Regal and Miz are my top two I've yet to meet. So anyway, Maurice wants to buy a cake for $250, which is half of her budget. But after Miz leaves, she talks the woman down to getting it for free in trade for publicity on her Instagram, because she tells the woman who makes the cake that, hey, I have like 5 million Instagram followers. I can give you a shout out, all this other stuff, as long as I can get the cake for free. And she ends up getting it for free, which is cool. So they then talk to Zack Ryder at the Hall of Fame ceremony. They talk to Zack Ryder, his girlfriend, now fiance, Chelsea Green, and Titus O'Neil about their sex life. Why? I have no idea, because Miz is obsessed about this whole thing about his 47% on the spiciness level test. And he even asks Titus O'Neil, like, would you ever do it in public? And he said that he has, that he would. I hear some stuff here I would rather not hear. But basically, Titus says, yeah, who wouldn't want to turn on the freaking laundry machine, the washer, the dryer, and then just go to town while the machine's making noise? I'm like, did I really need to hear that from Titus O'Neil? And then Chelsea Green even agrees with the Miz, like, that's just weird. Like, that's just some strange shit. And Ryder makes fun of Miz and calls him Missionary Mike, all this other shit. And Chelsea's like, this is just weird. And I agree, this whole conversation was very awkward. Maurice then talks to a venue about hosting Monroe's birthday party. She wants the 5-star package. It comes out to like over $1,000. The lady's willing to give it to her for 50% off, but she's able to talk her down to having it for free as long as Miz does a meet and greet in gear as the Miz at this birthday party. Much to his, he doesn't even know. He doesn't even know about this, but she basically pimps him out to get this birthday party for free. Ryan Cabrera shows up, the singer who we've seen in another episode to Miz and Mrs., very good friend of Miz and Maurice. The Kanellis couple, Mike and Maria, show up with their baby, which is cool. Elias shows up. A lot of WWE superstars. So Elias, Cabrera, and Miz organized this song. I don't know if Miz knew about this. Elias and Ryan definitely did. But they organized a song. They write up a song for Monroe to commemorate her first birthday. And obviously she has no idea what's going on. But Maurice absolutely loves it. It's a memory they'll never forget. Especially for under $500. It ends up coming out to $426. That's very impressive. So I thought that was pretty cool. Anyway, and also to seal the deal, they have sex in the corner of the hotel where no one can see them, like where there's a vending machine so you can't hear them or whatever. They take their robes off, and Miz leaves his robe on the ground. I mean, obviously, this part is staged. The robe is gone. We don't see anything, obviously, but we see that the robe is gone when they're done. And Maurice still has her robe, but he doesn't have his. Probably someone picked it up and whatever when they were doing their thing. So he has to take plates that people leave outside of their hotel room, put it over his junk, front and back, and run back to his hotel room, the same hotel that the WWE superstars are sharing for WrestleMania weekend. And some maid sees them. We don't really get to see her reaction, unfortunately, but that would have been amazing if we did. Anyway, so we get to WrestleMania Sunday. Unfortunately, again, I don't make the cut. I was there at the show. You don't see me. But Miz does decorate the suite where Mrs. Mom watches the show. Monroe too, but Monroe, I think, is there. I know Mr. Miz is there in between getting involved in the WrestleMania match between Miz and Shane. Everyone shows up. And he decorates the suite for Monroe and Maurice gets really emotional, and for whatever reason, Mr. Miz, George, puts teddy bears on the wall. He tapes them to the wall. Why? I don't know. Maurice thinks it's the stupidest thing ever, and it is pretty stupid, but it came out really, really cute. And Miz just wants to give Monroe a moment she'll never forget for her entire life, at least until tomorrow. And Maurice is like, oh, yeah, she loved it. And you know, you could see her watching Miz's entrance from the suite. I think she fell asleep by the end of the match, though. They showed her sleeping by the time the match was over. And Miz wanted to do this big spot, where he fell off the scaffolding with Shane. He did the suplex, lost anyway, and that was the beginning of the end. That was the beginning of the end of Miz's babyface push. But the spot that he did for Monroe in that moment didn't even matter because not only did he lose, but she was sleeping anyway. So it was a great ending to a very good episode. And not just because I was there and I could feel the nostalgia of being there for WrestleMania weekend, but just the whole thing was just an absolute blast. They had a lot of good stories here. Miz and Maurice just have amazing chemistry, and even on these reality shows that are clearly scripted, there's still a ton of fun. So check out Season 2, Episode 1, the Season 2 premiere of Miz and Mrs., entitled Monroe's First WrestleMania. They're back every Wednesday from here on out. I will be breaking on the show, very likely on Fridays, if not on Saturdays or Sundays, depending on what airs on the network. So, be sure to stay tuned to my reviews of Miz and Mrs. right here on the channel every single Friday, very likely moving forward. Until next time, guys, be sure to like this video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more content. We'll be back tomorrow, I believe. I will not be watching SmackDown Live tonight. I'll be at a hockey game, actually. So I'll be watching the show after the fact. We'll likely still have time to break it down in audio form right here on the channel tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. Until next time, guys, have a great rest of your week/weekend. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.